Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Sabanson, and welcome you guys to another episode of the DREAMERSPRO show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And folks, we got some more drama at ESPN. But before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and sub to the channel. Also, be sure to follow me on Instagram. My handle is CTABANZ. That's the easiest way if you guys want to reach me. But anyway, let's get into this topic here. So, depending on the order in which you're seeing today's shows, we already talked about some concerns that people like Kenny Smith, Charles Barkley have with going to work at ESPN, the uncertainty around that. I've spoken about that. But the real big name that made a splash about 2 years ago was Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee had arguably the biggest sports independent show. I think originally he was with FanDuel. I think he signed a $120 million deal, if I'm not mistaken. He broke off that deal to go sign with ESPN, who was paying him $80 million. And it was a very big deal at the time, right? It was a very big deal at the time to getting Pat McAfee. But at the time, there was something that was understood about Pat McAfee. Number one, it was a very unfiltered show. Guys are going on there. They're going to be on there saying what they believe. They're going to swear if they have to. And a lot of people, when the news initially came out that Pat McAfee was joining ESPN, people were like, Pat just ruined his entire show, because they felt like ESPN in some way, shape, or form was going to find a way to screw it up for him. So he went there. Things started off a little shaky at the beginning, but then things kind of leveled out. And then he had a moment where he was having some issues with some executives working at the network. That made some headlines. Things kind of simmered down. He recently did a very big interview when he brought on LeBron James to a show that created a lot of waves. Stephen A. Smith responded to some of the stuff that LeBron James said there. So this morning, we were just looking for what to discuss, and I came across some news here with the following headline saying, Pat McAfee addresses the Athletics report on ESPN status, calls out rat reporter and dinosaur execs. And I'm like, well, and the beat goes on to the last dance. Looks like these MFers are still at it again. But before we even get into what this report had to say, today's video is brought to you by a sponsor, Prize Picks. Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports with over 10 million members. Prize Picks makes it easy to get real money action on the sports and players you love. You pick more or less on at least 2 for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. For example, this week on Prize Picks, I'm looking at the upcoming NBA schedule and selecting Stephen Curry for more than 29 points and Kevin Durant for more than 27 points and Anthony Davis for more than 12 rebounds and Luka Doncic for more than 8 assists. If you're like me and you like to play it safe, you'll love Prize Picks' new feature, Flex Plays. It's the safest way to play. You can still cash out even if your lineup isn't perfect. Plus, you can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. On top of this, Prize Picks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I can get my money as quick as in 15 minutes. So download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code CLNS on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. And remember, whenever you support this sponsor, you're supporting this channel. Thank you. Okay, so let's get into what this report had to say. It says when Pat McAfee is in the news, it's a virtual guarantee that he will address the report. The ESPN and WWE star wasted no time Thursday responding to the latest piece from Andrew Marchand at The Athletic, calling the sports media reporter a rat. Early in the first hour of the Pat McAfee show, he referenced it during a segment with NFL insider Adam Schefter. To close the show, McAfee also went on an extended rant towards Marchand and the reports sources in Bristol. Listen to this. Speaking of an update, I learned a lot about my business this morning in another article, McAfee said, which has been great news. Seems like this happens all the time. I don't know if it's just normal, par for the course. I guess it's just life these days. There's so many of it's hard to keep track of. But when the rat writes something, it is nice to just be like, well, that's BS immediately. McAfee then moved into a conversation with Schefter, who was also a subject of Marchand's article. While welcoming the NFL insider for the first time since March 4th, McAfee borrowed Marchand's wording to introduce Schefter as the banned man. One focus of Marchand's article was the unofficial ban of Schefter from the Pat McAfee show in favor of NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport, a longtime friend of the show before its move to ESPN. As McAfee wrapped up his interview with Schefter, he dropped another allusion to the Athletics piece. "Tell Seth we know," McAfee said, in what might be a reference to ESPN Vice President of Production Seth Markman. In the waning moments of his show, after it was no longer being broadcast on ESPN, McAfee dug even further on Marchand and the dinosaurs at the worldwide leader, who have presumably leaked news about him to reporters since his arrival on ESPN's airwaves in September 2023. McAfee has also publicly thanked ESPN content head Burke Magnus, who was quoted in Marchand's piece, staunchly defending him. All these people that talk about our business are very interesting, because in a lot of the situations, and this is going to sound narcissistic, there's only one person who has the answer, and that would be me, McAfee said. And if I don't talk to this effing guy, so how would he ever know? And the beat just kept on going on and on and on and on and on. I must say this. I think Pat McAfee has more freedom to go at ESPN than even Stephen A. Smith does. Really. I have never heard Stephen A. Smith speak in this way about anybody working at ESPN. Now, I think it's different. Stephen A. Smith seems to be a company man. Like, he is ESPN through and through, right? If ESPN was a country, he'll be a nationalist of that country for ESPN. Whereas Pat McAfee was an insider that came into the fold. So he has a totally different outlook on this. He came in with his own value. He was able to get a lucrative contract with them. So in his eyes, I think he's like, bro, you know, I came in here with something. I'm protecting something. I know what our value is, and we're not going to stand for any of this nonsense. Whereas Stephen A. Smith is the unquestioned face of the network, so you're never going to really see him go at ESPN like that, at the executives or anything, especially if he has any disputes. And if he does, none of it will ever be public. Now, we also know that Stephen A. Smith wanted to be the number one paid analyst, or whatever you want to call it, personality at the network, right? And reports were he was bothered that Pat McAfee got a bigger contract than him. And for him, it was about him landing the biggest contract and ESPN signaling, not only to him, but to all of the other people out there, that this is our number one guy. So that $100 million contract, yes, he wanted the money, but he also wanted to send the message. What are my thoughts about this? I don't think it's going to stop. I think this is who Pat McAfee is. If he has any issues with people at ESPN, he's going to voice them, as he has in the past. And this is what they signed up for. Obviously, he must be bringing a significant amount of value for them to tolerate it. Right? He must be, because for them to continue to tolerate him calling out various people and, you know, doing things the way that he does, they must love it, right? I have no issue with him because I don't watch his show anyway. I'm not into NFL like that. But hey, these are my thoughts on this news. Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section, and we'll catch you on the next show. Peace.